I was sipping an espresso in Rome when the call came through. "Hey, Jason," she said, voice cold, calculated. "I'm leaving you. For my lover. And our unborn child." I didn't flinch. Not even a muscle moved on my face. "I've sold your house. And your car," she added. Like that would make me react. I looked out at the Italian skyline, leaned back in my chair, and responded with a steady breath. "All right." She didn't know it yet, but that was the last time she'd get the satisfaction of catching me off guard. When I flew back to LAX 3 days later, I wasn't expecting anything. I was done, or so I thought. There she was, Lauren, waiting like some desperate junkie looking for her next hit. Blonde hair twisted in some fake perfect bun, overpriced designer jacket she probably bought with my money, mascara smudged just enough to scream pity me. "Jason, Jason," she yelled through the crowd. Her voice cracked as she chased me down the terminal. I stopped, cold, calm, almost amused. "What happened?" she shrieked. I turned to face her, expression blank. Everything went just as I planned. Her jaw slackened like someone had sucker punched her soul. Let me rewind a little. Just 3 months ago, Lauren was still pretending to be a wife. We were 3 years into a marriage that, for me, still had life. I worked my asterisk off to give us a home, security, a future. She worked on her tan, her lies, and apparently, on carrying another man's baby. It started small. She stopped touching me. That soft forehead kiss before I left for work? Gone. The late-night cuddles? Replaced with her clutching her phone, smiling at messages she didn't remember getting. She stopped wearing the necklace I gave her on our anniversary, the one with her name engraved in cursive. "It's tacky," she said once. But her new gold chain? That wasn't for me. One night, I got up at 2 a.m. to grab water and caught her sneaking out onto the balcony in just her robe, whispering, "Who the hell are you talking to?" I asked. She jumped, dropped her phone. "Nobody," she mumbled, eyes darting like a trapped animal. I didn't press. Not yet. I needed more. I wanted the truth to bleed out of her slowly, painfully. So I waited. I watched. I set up a hidden camera in the living room before I left for that Rome trip. I synced it to my laptop. While she thought I was whining and dining clients, I was watching her invite a man into our house, our bed. He was younger, maybe mid-20s. Tattoos up his arms, that kind of cocky smile that only comes from knowing you're ing someone else's wife. I watched them laugh, drink my whiskey, sit on my couch. I watched her climb into his lap like she didn't have a husband. She giggled like a teenager, said things like, "He'll never know," and kissed him like I never existed. I closed my laptop and smiled. See, Lauren thought she was clever, but I had already transferred the house deed months ago to my brother. The car? Leased under my company's name. Bank accounts? Frozen the minute I landed in Italy. She sold shadows. I stayed silent while she plotted my demise. I played the fool so well she started believing I was one. And then she dropped the final bomb. The call with the divorce, the unborn child, the house, the car. All her cards on the table. But I had the winning hand. Every piece was falling exactly where I wanted it. Now, standing in that terminal, her mascara dripping, mouth wide open, expecting me to scream, to cry, to beg, I just handed her the envelope. "What's this?" she stuttered. "Eviction notice," I said. "Oh, and DNA test results." Her lips twitched. "What?" "Not mine," I said. "The baby. He's not mine." She staggered back like I'd slapped her. "But how did you?" "I watched you," I said. "Every single night." She tried to speak, but nothing came out. "I knew everything before you even spread your legs for him." The crowd passing us slowed down, eyes wide, mouth shut. Lauren's face turned from ghostly white to furious red in seconds. "You can't do this to me," she hissed. I leaned in close, whispered like ice. "I already did." Then I walked right past her, through the crowd, while she stood there, shaking, broken, completely powerless. This was only the beginning. When I got home, the first thing I noticed was the silence. Not peaceful silence, the kind that echoes in your chest, the kind that feels like the aftermath of a storm. Our house was stripped of life. Furniture gone. Family photos missing. Even the damn coffee machine had vanished. Only thing left was the smell of her perfume. Lauren's signature fake vanilla scent, still hanging in the air like a cheap ghost. I walked into the bedroom, saw the mattress half torn, sheets gone. But the camera I'd hidden inside the baseboard? Still there. She never found it. I opened my laptop and pressed play on the synced footage. There she was. Lauren. 2 nights ago. Wearing nothing but that silk robe I got her for our anniversary. Sitting on the edge of the bed with a glass of wine, swiping through her phone with that smug little smirk. Then, boom. The door opened, and in walked him. Logan. Yeah, I knew his name now. The delivery guy from the gym. I remembered him. Pretty boy with too much cologne and not enough brain cells. I once tipped him $20. $20 to deliver protein powder and steal my wife. He walked in like he owned the place, slapped her ass like it was some casual Tuesday. I watched them talk, laugh, kiss, crawl into bed. That wasn't the part that hurt the most. It was when she whispered, "Jason's such a loser. He's boring. All he does is work." She said that. About me. The man who built everything around her. The man who skipped vacations, pulled 16-hour shifts, who stayed up nights figuring out how to get her out of student debt, who believed in her art career, even though she hadn't painted a single canvas in 2 years. And now, she was calling me boring while letting another man kiss her neck in my bed. That's when something snapped. I wasn't angry. Not yet. That would come later. I just sat there, numb, watching, listening, like it was a documentary of someone else's life. But deep inside, something was boiling, a storm forming under the surface. I closed the laptop and stared at the wall for a long time. Maybe an hour, maybe 10. I don't know. I looked around the room again. Her hairbrush still sat on the dresser. Her charger still plugged in by the bed. She had left in a rush. She thought I'd come back and collapse. Cry. Beg. Apologize for working too much, for neglecting her. She didn't expect me to watch her betrayal from 3 different camera angles. So I took my time. I went into her studio, the one I built for her in the guest room. I opened the drawers. Found old receipts, scribbled notes, some phone numbers. One of them had a heart next to it. I dialed it. A woman answered. "Hello. Is this Jessica?" I asked. "Yeah. Who is this?" "This is Jason, Lauren's husband." There was a pause. Then a slow, quiet sigh. "I was wondering when you'd call," she said. My stomach twisted. "She told me you were abusive," she added quickly. "Said you cheated on her first." Of course she did. Lauren had created a full-blown fantasy world to justify her actions. Lied to her friends, probably even to herself. Rewrote our marriage in her head so that her betrayal made sense. "She's pregnant," I said flatly. "She told me," Jessica replied. "But it's not yours, is it?" "No, it's not." The line went silent again. I thanked her. Hung up. So now I had confirmation. Of the betrayal. Of the lies. Of the smear campaign she started while I was out there busting my asterisk to keep our life intact. This wasn't just cheating. This was war. And I wasn't going to lose. I didn't call her. Didn't text. Didn't storm into her new apartment like some wounded ex. I waited. Let her stew in silence. People like Lauren hate silence. They feed on drama, on reaction, on control. But when there's nothing, no anger, no begging, that's when they panic. So I let her sweat for 4 days. And on the 5th, she called. "Jason, we need to talk." Her voice was different this time. No more cold confidence. No more smug detachment. Just thinly veiled fear trying to disguise itself as control. I agreed to meet. At a diner downtown. Neutral ground. When I walked in, she was already there. Full makeup. Red lipstick. That same damn gold chain. Trying to look calm, but chewing on her thumbnail like a nervous schoolgirl. "Hi," she said like she didn't just destroy everything we built. I sat. Said nothing. "You've been quiet," she started, stirring her coffee with a shaking spoon. Still, I didn't speak. She tried again. "Look, I didn't expect you to just say nothing. You haven't even asked why." "I know why," I said finally. My voice was calm. Level. The kind of calm that makes people afraid. Her face twitched. "It wasn't working between us," she said quickly. "We stopped connecting. You were always working. To pay for your life. I needed more than just bills being paid." "Jason," she snapped. "I needed attention. Passion. You needed to open your legs for a delivery boy?" Her eyes widened. Face flushed. She looked around, embarrassed. "Don't talk to me like that." "Why not? That's how you talked about me to him. And to your friend Jessica." Silence. Dead. Cold. Chilling silence. "You talk to Jessica?" "I talk to a lot of people. When I'm not busy being a boring loser." Lauren looked like she'd been slapped. The color drained from her face. "I didn't mean that. But you said it." "It was just in the moment, Jason." I was confused. Logan, I laughed. Couldn't help it. A bitter, sharp sound. You were confused while screwing him in my house. Wearing my robe? Drinking my whiskey. Tears welled in her eyes. She tried to reach across the table. I pulled my hand back. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry I found out. She looked away. Tried the victim routine again. You don't know what it's like, feeling alone. Yeah, I do, I said. I was alone every night while you were texting him. Alone while I paid for groceries, while I covered your credit cards, while I defended you to my friends when they said you were acting weird. Her lips quivered. She had nothing. No comeback. No defense. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? I thought. I don't know what I thought, she whispered. Did you think I'd break down? Come crawling back? Apologize for not being enough. She stayed silent. You miscalculated, Lauren. I stood. Tossed a $10 on the table. She grabbed my wrist. What now? She asked, voice cracking. I looked her straight in the eyes. No anger. Just clarity. Now? You disappear. Like the lie you were. I walked out, leaving her there, alone, shattered, with nothing but her fake gold chain and empty excuses. I thought I'd lose it. Thought I'd break something. Thought I'd scream into a pillow or punch a wall. That's what everyone expects from a man who finds out his wife's been lying to his face while laying with another man. But what I felt wasn't fire. It was ice. I sat alone in my apartment, the one bedroom I moved into 2 weeks ago. The walls were still bare. My clothes were still in boxes. It didn't feel like home, but at least it didn't feel like hers. I poured myself a drink. Whiskey. Neat. The same one she and Logan laughed over. And I stared at the amber swirl in the glass, wondering how long I'd been living in a fantasy while she was building a new life behind my back. It hit in waves. Not the betrayal. That part was already burned out of me. No, what hit me hardest was the realization that I never really knew her. Not the woman who kissed me in the morning. Not the one who begged me to forgive her for accidentally texting another guy 2 years ago. Not the woman who promised she'd never lie again after that party where she disappeared for hours. Lauren was an actress. A damn good one. And I paid for front row seats to my own humiliation. The worst part? I loved her. I really did. I believed in her. I trusted her. And she sold me out for some cheap adrenaline and a baby she thought would buy her a new life. Yeah, the baby. That wrecked me in ways I didn't expect. Even knowing it wasn't mine, there was a part of me, sick as it sounds, that wanted to believe it could have been. That maybe we'd have had something real to fix. Something worth fighting for. But instead, I got lies. A mountain of them. Layers and layers of carefully constructed BS. She said she loved me. She didn't. She said it was just emotional. It wasn't. She said it happened only once. I had footage of 4 different nights. Every word, every apology, every crocodile tear, manufactured. Nothing more than bad fiction with my heart as the punchline. People asked me why I didn't explode. Why I didn't call her parents, her friends, post the videos online. Why I didn't go full scorched earth. Simple. She wasn't worth the fire. What hurt more than the betrayal was how small she turned out to be. I had built her up in my head. I thought she was complex, deep, someone with ambition, passion, heart. But she was just noise. Expensive perfume, fake smiles, and a talent for lying with a straight face. And when you finally see someone clearly for the first time, there's no rage. Just quiet disappointment. Like realizing the magic trick wasn't real. Just strings and smoke. I went through phases. First came the numbness. Then the hollow anger. Then came the regret. Not for losing her, but for choosing her in the first place. And then, finally, came peace. The day I burned our wedding photos in the trash can behind my new place, I didn't feel sad. I felt clean. Like I was washing off poison I didn't know I'd been soaking in for years. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want her back. I didn't even want closure. I wanted my life back. No more checking her messages when she went to the bathroom. No more wondering why she smelled like cologne that wasn't mine. No more pretending I didn't notice the lipstick stains on her wine glass when she said she hadn't been out. She was gone. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. Once the dust settled, once the house was stripped and the truth laid bare, I stood at the crossroads every betrayed man eventually reaches. What now? I could have fought to save it. Tried to rebuild something from the wreckage. But why would I salvage a house that had termites in the walls from the start? I filed for divorce the morning after our meeting at the diner. Clean, cold, final. No yelling. No begging. No, maybe we can work this out. Just a stack of legal documents that said, "We're done." Lauren didn't even contest it. I think, deep down, she knew she'd lost. Not just me, but every inch of the illusion she'd tried to protect. She called a week later. Not to apologize. Not even to cry. Just to ask, "Can I keep the paintings?" The ******ing paintings. I built her a studio. Paid for supplies. Supported her dream when no one else did. And now she wanted to cherry-pick memories as if they were decorations. No, I told her. The paintings stay. Click. That was the last time we spoke. And after that, I went dark. I changed my number. Deleted joint accounts. Moved funds into a private investment portfolio. Set up a new mailing address. Blocked her on everything. I erased her. But not for revenge. For survival. See, what most people don't understand is this. Cheating isn't just betrayal. It's erosion. It eats at your identity. Makes you question your instincts, your worth, your sanity. I needed to rebuild. From the ground up. I started with the basics. Woke up early. Went to the gym. Cooked real meals. Walked without checking my phone. Looked in the mirror without flinching. I stopped waiting for closure. Stopped replaying the footage. Stopped listening to our wedding song like a masochist. I even donated her clothes. The ones she forgot to take when she stormed out like some tragic heroine in a drama she wrote herself. And I started writing again. Not poetry. Not novels. Just thoughts. On betrayal. On rebuilding. On what it means to be a man in a world where loyalty is treated like a joke. I wrote down everything I wish someone had told me before I married her. Like how attention is not affection. How apologies mean nothing when repeated. How loyalty isn't something you earn with money, but something you recognize in the little moments. Like who picks up your call when the world falls apart. The more I wrote, the clearer things became. She didn't ruin me. She revealed me. Lauren showed me the parts of myself I ignored for too long. The tolerance. The excuses. The way I brushed off red flags because I was scared to be alone. Because I thought love meant suffering quietly. It doesn't. Love isn't meant to drain you. It's meant to water your soul, not wring it dry. So no, I didn't spiral. I didn't turn bitter. I didn't become one of those men who swear off women and drown in their own resentment. But I did change. I became sharper, colder in some ways, but real. No more sugarcoating red flags. No more second chances for liars. No more carrying someone who won't walk beside me. The consequences of her betrayal weren't just a broken marriage. They were a rebirth. I didn't just lose a wife. I gained myself. After the papers were signed and the silence between us became permanent, life started to move again, but not in the way it used to. I wasn't just healing. I was rebuilding a world from scratch. And the fallout? It came from directions I didn't expect. First came the gossip. People talk, especially when a marriage explodes this loud. Friends called me, some in shock, some pretending they didn't know. Her story had already spread. She said I abandoned her emotionally, that I checked out long before she did. A few idiots actually bought it. But the real ones? The real ones knew. They'd seen the way she acted at parties. The subtle digs at me. The way her phone was always face down. They just never said anything. And I couldn't blame them. I was blind by choice. Even her own brother reached out. "Man, I'm sorry. She's been off for months." I didn't want to interfere, but I should have said something. He wasn't the only one. One of Lauren's old college friends messaged me on Instagram. "Hey, I just want you to know, she's done this before. You're not the first." That message sat in my chest like a brick. Not the first. So this wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. And I had been just another pit stop in her game of self-destruction. Another man who saw potential where there was only poison in disguise. The worst part? I had introduced her to my mother. I had promised my dad she was the one. I had defended her more times than I could count, even when people warned me. Now those memories felt like ashes in my mouth. And speaking of family, telling my parents was another layer of hell. My mother cried. Not because we were divorcing, but because she saw what it did to me. "You look like you've aged 10 years, she whispered. My dad just nodded. The silent kind of support that only fathers know how to give. No judgment, just presence. "Sometimes," he said, "you've got to lose what's killing you to remember who you are." I clung to that line like a lifeboat. But it wasn't just emotional cleanup. There was the financial damage, too. Even though I had protected most of my assets, Lauren still tried. She filed a request for spousal support a week after the divorce was finalized. had the nerve to say she sacrificed her career to support mine. She sacrificed nothing. She painted 2 canvases in 3 years and spent the rest of the time networking on Instagram with fitness coaches and self-proclaimed influencers. My lawyer shut it down fast. But still, just the idea that she thought she deserved something after what she'd done, that boiled my blood more than anything else. And Logan, her boy toy lover, he ghosted her. Of course he did. A month after our split, I heard from a mutual friend that Logan bailed the moment she started talking long-term. The baby was real, but apparently, so was his criminal record. She chose a fantasy over stability, a liar over loyalty, a thrill over a future, and it all blew up in her face. But me? I was still standing. Bruised, maybe, but not broken. There's something powerful about surviving betrayal and coming out colder, but wiser. The fallout wasn't just about losing her. It was about shedding the illusions, the fake smiles, the masks I didn't even realize I'd been tolerating. It was about burning down the old blueprint of who I thought I needed to be and laying bricks for something real. For once, I wasn't reacting to someone else's chaos. I was building peace. There's no dramatic montage when you move on. No cinematic moment where everything clicks and the pain evaporates. It's slow. It's Tuesday morning when you realize you didn't think about her for 2 straight days. It's walking into a cafe and not instinctively checking if she's blocked you from her social media again. It's silence, and realizing it feels good this time. After the divorce, I gave myself space. I didn't jump into dating, didn't install the apps or seek out rebounds to prove some imaginary point. I wasn't interested in distractions. I was interested in understanding what the hell happened and who I had become because of it. So I started saying yes to things that had nothing to do with her. Yes to late-night runs instead of late-night arguments. Yes to weekend hikes with friends I hadn't seen in months. Yes to myself, finally. I cleared my space. New apartment. No traces of Lauren. Not a single picture. Not a piece of furniture we picked together. I sold the couch, burned the sheets, donated the dining set. Everything had to go. Because healing isn't just internal, it's environmental. You can't move on when the ghost of betrayal is hanging off your bookshelf. My phone was quiet, and I liked it that way. No more wondering who she was texting. No more checking timestamps. No more pretending to be calm when every fiber of my being was on fire from doubt. Instead, I built routines. I cooked for myself again, not frozen meals, but real food. I played old music, the kind I used to love before she said it was too depressing. I wore cologne I liked, not the one she picked out for my birthday. I filled the silence with books, podcasts, workouts, and quiet reflection. There were nights, of course, where it crept back in. Nights when I'd remember how she used to fall asleep on my chest, and I'd wonder if any of it was ever real. Nights when I'd wake up from dreams where we were still together, and feel that familiar panic crawling down my spine when I realized it was only a dream. But then the morning would come, and I'd open my eyes, and she'd still be gone, and I'd still be okay. One evening, months later, I ran into someone. Not in the romantic way, just a moment. I was at a bookstore downtown, flipping through a worn copy of The Alchemist, and this woman next to me laughed softly at something in her own book. It wasn't flirty, wasn't staged. It was just real. We talked for a while. Nothing deep, nothing serious. Just 2 strangers sharing space. She didn't know me, didn't know what I'd been through. She wasn't trying to save me, fix me, or fill a void. She was just there. And for the first time in a long time, I realized I didn't need saving. I didn't need revenge, or closure, or a new love to replace the old one. I just needed me, to come back home to myself, to choose peace over performance, clarity over chaos, truth over twisted promises. Lauren was a chapter, not the story. She was the storm, but not the ending. And now, I was writing the rest. If you'd asked me a year ago where I thought I'd be today, I would have said something safe. Still married, still grinding, maybe planning a family. Back then, I still believed in the story. I believed love meant sticking it out, even when it hurt. I believed in Lauren, in us, in the life we were building. Though, in hindsight, I was the only one actually building. Now, I'm in a different world. Not a better one, just a real one. No illusions, no filters, just truth and peace. I look back at everything, and it almost feels like a dream. A cruel, twisted, exhausting dream. But I remember it all vividly. The scent of betrayal, the sound of her lies, The sting in her voice when she said she was leaving me for her lover and their unborn child. She thought she'd break me. Instead, she woke me up. There's something deeply clarifying about betrayal. It strips away all the fluff, all the excuses. It forces you to face yourself. Not just the version you present to the world, but the one hiding in the mirror, scared, wounded, unsure. And facing that man, that was the beginning of everything. I learned more in that painful silence than I ever learned during our entire marriage. I learned that trust isn't a weakness, it's a risk. That love is a gift, but it should never cost your dignity. That forgiveness is powerful, but it's not owed. Especially not to someone who burned every bridge with a smile. Would I go back and change it? Honestly, no. Because that heartbreak built me. It broke the version of me that tolerated disrespect in the name of keeping the peace. It shattered the man who believed loyalty meant staying silent while being slowly destroyed. It buried the nice guy who always gave one more chance. And what rose from that wreckage? Someone sharper, stronger, still kind, but never naive again. I see men go through this now, and I want to tell them, you're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not overreacting. You're just waking up to the truth, and that's always painful. But it's necessary, because sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is the best thing that ever could. Lauren wasn't the end of my story. She was the twist, the lesson, the test. And when I passed it, I didn't win her back. I won myself back. If there's one piece of advice I'd give to any man reading this, it's this. Listen to your gut. If something feels off, it is. If you're constantly questioning your worth, your sanity, your place, step back. Look closer. Because love shouldn't feel like walking on eggshells. It shouldn't be secret passwords, hidden phones, and emotional games. It should be honesty, loyalty, safety. And if you're not getting that, walk. Don't wait for the betrayal to burn your world down. Don't wait for the call where she tells you it's over and she's pregnant with someone else's child. You deserve more, even when you doubt it, especially then. As for me, I'm not bitter. I don't hate her. That would mean she still has power over me. She doesn't. She's a name I used to say in my sleep. Now, she's just another page in a closed book. I'm writing new chapters now. They're quiet, real, uncomplicated, and most importantly, they're mine.